Hello friends, if you are new to my channel, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, welcome back. I had a few people make mention that they noticed I had changed the name to my channel. I have, and the reason behind the change is because, much like my Scentsy journey, that is always changing, forever evolving, I found recently that the direction of my channel is doing the same. So I don't really, like, when I had the name Scentsy with Sarah Lynn, Independent Scentsy Consultant, I think it puts my channel in a perfect little box of what should be just strictly Scentsy. And I don't want to just talk about Scentsy in my videos. I've been a home fragrance fan since the beginning of time. Like, I remember when I was young, my parents were like raging hippies and burning incense in the house. Flash forward to when I was a little bit older, during the Slatkin days, and you know, road tripping across to the States because we didn't even have Bath and Body Works in Canada yet. You know, I've been a waxaholic forever. So just because I'm a Scentsy consultant doesn't mean that I'm only ever going to warm Scentsy, and I'm not going to, you know, chunk candles. I don't burn them anymore, but I do chunk them, or try vendor wax, or talk about other things other than maybe I want to make a video about, you know, the time crackhead stole my cat. That has nothing to do with Scentsy. So I think my channel is just evolving and it's changing, and it needed a different name. Not to say that I'm still, the vast majority of my content will be about home fragrance, and a huge portion of that will be Scentsy because I love what I do, working for this company. But I don't want to be in a perfect little box and have to worry about absolutely everything fitting underneath Scentsy's compliance and being all paranoid. Not to say that I'm going to make a Scentsy video and go against what compliance says, but there's just more to me than just Scentsy. So it is what it is. The reason I chose the name Sweet Scents from the Dollhouse is because this is primarily a home fragrance vlog, as well as I think a couple of my subscribers and now friends and customers have caught on to my lingo that I call my home the dollhouse. So a little backstory about that was, I'd say about 5 years ago, I started to collect living dead dolls, and if you've watched my channel for a while, you know that I'm a little competitive in nature. So living dead dolls is a series of these spooky dolls. You've probably seen them before. They're all like horror themes, and they come in little coffins. I think I started to collect when Mezco Toys was on season 18. So it became like a game, you know what I mean? Trying to get as many of the older, rare, full sets and so on and so forth. Just a collector's thing, you know? But I became obsessed with it. And in the first, I'd say 18 months to 2 years of being a living dead doll collector, I collected over 200 of them. And in true collector fashion, they had to be kept in the coffins with the cello wrap still on them. They were all in mint condition, never opened, and I have literally collected them from all 4 corners of the world. Just obsessed. So when they're in those coffins, they start to take up a lot of space. So my aunt came down to see our new house years ago. This is a different new house. But she came down to visit for the first time, and we were showing her our new house, and at the time it was just myself, Tatum, and Grace. The baby hadn't been born yet, and it was a teeny tiny little house, perfect, like picture perfect, teeny tiny little house with 200 plus dolls in it, right? So I think my aunt was trying to take it all in. You know, there's like these creepy dolls with blood all over them. And she's just smiling and trying to think of like nice things to say. She's like, I love your house. It's perfect. It's like a little dollhouse. So, henceforth, we have called it the dollhouse ever since. So yeah, I thought, hey, why not just call it Sweet Scents from the Dollhouse? It'll work for now. Still not a name I'm set in stone, but apparently I can change it 3 times every 90 days. So, we'll see. Anywho, today is Wednesday. You know what that means? It's Wax Wars Day. I had enough of strawberry last week, and then this week I have had an obscene amount of baked apple pie. Strawberries and now baked apple pie, not my faves. I don't know why I didn't break it up with something I loved in between, but I'm over it. So, Scentsys baked apple pie, scent notes say flaky crust, apples, and spices. Combined in a strong scent. If you've watched my episode of scent scores for this one, it's in the playlist. In that video, you'll probably see that this is not my favorite scent. Scentsy describes this as a strong scent. I don't think it's a strong scent at all. It is heavier on the cinnamon. I get very little apple and absolutely no flaky pie crust. So the price point on a Scentsy bar in Canada is $8 a bar. And I've gone through 2 of these because I wanted to be very thorough with both my scent scores and now my wax wars. And when I have to go through 2 whole bars of it to try and figure it out, I mean, that goes to show, especially with this wax wars, I tested this in every different type of warmer I had. I had a 10 watt element warmer, 13 watt element warmer, 15 watt plug-in. I tested it in the 25 watt Blue Crush warmer, which I normally do all of my scent scores and wax wars in, as well as, the Shooting Star Enhancement, or Sensational Start Award with a 40 watt Edison bulb in it. Like that's a hot one. So I was trying to get this to perform as best as possible and make it a strong scent, and I just didn't get there. So I put 2 cubes in because with 1 cube, in this big room, I couldn't smell it at all. So I threw 2 cubes in. I ended up getting a 3-foot throw with 2 cubes fully melted. That still wasn't enough. So I put 3 cubes in. With 3 cubes, I got 7 hours. With 3 cubes, I got up to a 7-foot throw, and this only lasted 8.5 hours. And at the 8.5 hour mark, like the throw was so substantially small, I had to be standing within like 2 feet of the dresser. So to me, when the scent is diminished that much, you might as well turn it off. It's done if you have to stand that close to your warmer. So 3 cubes, 7-foot throw, 8.5 hours. So if you melt a Scentsy bar using 3 cubes at $8 Canadian, that means it's approximately $3 per melt for Scentsy's baked apple pie. The next one that I warred it against was Scentsationals warm apple pie. I've just recently started to warm Scentsationals because I want to know what's on the market. I think as a Scentsy consultant, you should know your product line thoroughly, as well as you should know what your competitors have to offer. Because I have heard that argument tons of times when I approach somebody. Not that I'm like out there trying to be sales pitchy with Scentsy, but because I'm passionate about home fragrance and I sell Scentsy, I talk about it a lot. And if you're a Scentsy consultant, you have guaranteed run into 150 annoying people. They're out there that say, oh, Scentsy's too expensive. I just buy my wax at Walmart. And I'm just like, oh, okay. What do you say to that? You could say, okay, and carry on, or you could know your competitor and be able to make a valid argument, or then get pitchy with them and tell them comparatively the differences, right? So I recently started to warm Scentsationals. Again, these people that you run into quite frequently, they have a point. The price in Canada on a Scentsationals clam, which is relatively the same, a little teeny tiny bit smaller than a Scentsy bar, this is $8 Canadian, this is $3.48. So they have a point. It is a lot cheaper. If I have to melt 3 cubes of this at $3 per melt, you melt 2 of these for $1.25 a melt. So they do have a point. It's affordable, plus it's convenient. If they ever run out of it, they'll just go up to their local Walmart and get it. They don't have to hunt down a consultant, place an order. They can actually see it, smell it, which a lot of customers enjoy because they don't always have the opportunity to meet with a consultant, smell the testers before they purchase. So there is the convenience of that. Plus, consumers have this instant gratification thing, right? I know from doing cash and carry events that my customers always are like just so excited when they're leaving. They purchase and leave with bags of Scentsy. In comparison to, yes, they're excited when they place an order, but the levels of excitement based on the day you deliver it, consultants, you know what I'm saying. Consumers have an instant gratification. They want it. They pay for it. They want to take it home instantly. So yes, Scentsationals is cheaper and more convenient. You can sniff it before you buy it, as well as you get that instant gratification of being able to leave the store with it and take it home, which you don't get with Scentsy. So I understand where they're coming from. But the Scentsationals warm apple pie, this to me was more cinnamon than apple as well. And there is like this strange bakery note, but I wouldn't identify it as pie crust. And it's kind of artificial, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know. It's definitely more cinnamon, not enough apple, and not an authentic apple either. And this like wannabe pastry scent. Is it awful? Absolutely not. I won't let the rest of this clam go to waste. I would definitely use this, but would it be a repurchase for me? Likely not, because it's, yes, it's affordable. Yes, it's convenient, but to me, I'd rather go with nothing than warm something that smells artificial. Quality for me is always better. So with the Scentsationals at $1.16 a melt, this one had a steady 8 to 10 foot throw at its peak, and it lasted approximately 14 hours. This one as well, like in the last 4 hours, it was kind of like what I refer to as one of those peekaboo scents. So at the 10-hour mark, I thought it was done. And then before you know it, you smell a little whiff of it again. So at $1.16 per melt, this was a fairly decent performer, just not a very authentic scent. The next one that I warded against was Sassy Girl Aroma's Granny's Apple Pie. So I received this, it was quite full. There was a substantial amount more wax in here when I purchased my very first multi-vendor D-stash. This one is amazing. I think this one is like the perfect amount of apples versus cinnamon, or what I would expect in apple pie. more apple than cinnamon. And this one has a true bakery note. Again, I don't know that I would necessarily identify it as pie crust, but maybe this is as close as it gets with fragrance oil to a pie crust. So I melted, this is approximately, I eyeballed 1 ounce in my Glade warmer. And that's the thing, is like, Scentsy warmers were designed to melt Scentsy wax. So when I'm melting vendor wax, I'm melting it in a really hot Glade warmer. So, as well as I melt my Scentsationals in a Mainstay. It's actually a metal warmer. So, just to be fair to all of the different wax brands, I have them in their corresponding warmers, right? So, Sassy Girl Aroma is approximately $1.25 US a melt, which would work out to, with the exchange rate right now, it'd be $1.25, $1.47, approximately $1.50 per ounce or per melt, which that's super affordable. A little bit more expensive than the Scentsationals, but way more authentic fragrance. It lasted, sorry, I have to look at my notes. So it had a steady 12-foot throw for the first 4 hours, and it lasted 10 hours in total. But after the 4-hour mark, the throw got substantially lesser and lesser and lesser and lesser, to the point where I turned it off. So this, to me, was probably the most difficult wax wars, because to me it's all still baked apple pie. The Scentsationals definitely wouldn't be a repurchase for me, just because it's not an authentic scent. I don't care how cheap it is or how convenient it is, not authentic. Scentsy's baked apple pie, way too expensive if I have to put 3 of these in a warmer to get a throw. But again, this is in my house. I have heard other vloggers, other reviewers, even my own customers who say that this throws phenomenally in their house and they love the fragrance. I just wish it was a little less cinnamon and a little more apple. This will definitely not be a repurchase for me at all. If I have to pick, I would have to say Sassy Girl Aroma's Granny's Apple Pie would be the winner, hands down, for authenticity, price, as well as performance. The only thing with vendor wax is availability. So with vendor wax, if Julie, the owner and operator of Sassy Girl Aroma, decides to make a batch of Granny Apple Pie and puts it on a restock list, if you then successfully win at Hunger Games style ordering, you might be able to purchase this. So it's like, again, Scentsy with consistency. You can order this every day of the year, as much as you want, whenever you want. So I guess it really comes down to what your preferences are. To me, Scentsationals, definitely not even in the same league as these as far as fragrance are concerned. This one performs better, and to me smells more like apple pie than this one does. But this is like finding a unicorn versus the convenience and the availability of Scentsy. So you decide. What do you prefer? What would you like to see in your home fragrance? What matters to you? Authenticity, availability, price, or performance? It varies from one person to the next. So, who knows? If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, smash the bell for future content notification, and I look forward to bringing you another episode of Wax Wars next week. Oh, we are doing cider. We are having a cider melt-off, and I can't wait because I'm so done with strawberries and apples. Bye for now.